User management. With 6.0, we've also decided to revisit our user management functionality. Really, the feedback we were getting is that Enterprise Manager, while functional, was probably a bit too complex for the vast majority of scenarios, and therefore we've decided to simplify it and really integrate the core of Enterprise Manager into the Agile platform. We've incorporated the concept of roles and groups, and obviously also included the core functionality regarding LDAP and integrated authentication. Let me show you a bit how this reflects in Service Studio and in user management. In Service Studio, I just want to show you one small but important change which we've decided to make, which is now what were previously known as permission areas are now being called roles. And while this is technically the same, in fact, from a business perspective and from a development perspective, we want this to be very, very different. With permission areas, the tendency really is for developers to kind of detach from the way that applications will actually be used and just say permission to do this, permission to do that. And really the conclusion we got after analyzing a number of projects is that the best way to tackle a problem is to find out which are the real roles of the real people that will use this application and reflect that in the application itself. This makes the knowledge transfer easier, it makes the application more aligned to the actual needs of stakeholders, so it's definitely a good practice to think in terms of business roles and not in terms of permissions. Another thing you'll need to know is that users are now managed in a specific application which is now provided off the shelf, which is the user's application. Unlike Enterprise Manager, this is actually a very, very simple application to use. I do have to log in. You can see that it incorporates the new revamped look and feel of 6.0, and it's much simpler. I can create a new user. Let me create one for myself, for instance. I can add a specific role. For example, I can add a sales manager role to my user. I can also, for instance, create a new group, which might be the sales team. And specify that I am on this list of the sales team, and say that everyone from the sales team has access to the directory and also shares the role of sales manager. Finally, I have a quick overview of the applications available and how many users have permissions to use this application.